Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim, and thank you, Naya, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. So this video is in two segments, right? One is talking about how, saying that if you are an African American, if you are a Black person, and you are thinking of moving to Latin American or something to escape discrimination in United States, that you are making a very big mistake. That when you get there, that it's even worse than it is in United States. And that according to her, she's saying that if you are not light skinned, that when you get there, they are very light skinned and have blue eyes and the rest of it. So if you do not have light skin and you do not have blue eyes, there is nothing for you. So, and I am asking, how did we get here? This colorism and all that, and also discriminating against people that look like me. And the second video is saying, the second part is saying that, that Black slavery provided no value for most Americans and was not the principal driver of wealth in United States, right? If Black slavery had been banned 100 years before U.S. independence, we would just be as well, like we would be super wealthy today. So they are not wealthy because it was not banned like hundreds of years ago and all that. And what I have to say is that some people really need to go back to school, because it looks like we already know that history classes failed a lot of people, but you know what, let's get into this video.
It's true. Black people will be discriminated against in a Latin American country. If you're leaving America to get away from discrimination and you're moving to a Latin American country thinking that you're not going to be discriminated against, you're wrong. I've been hearing a lot about people that have moved to Mexico and are complaining that they're being discriminated against in Mexico. Let me tell you something. Mexico discriminates against their own Mexican people that are darker shade than the rest of them. In Mexico, there's a lot of states that have very fair skin and blue eyes people. The people that have indigenous features, the very dark skin, the black hair, are discriminated against. So you coming to live to Mexico and think that you're not going to be discriminated against is a fallacy. This is not just in Mexico. It happens everywhere in Latin America. Black people are discriminated against. In Honduras, there's an entire community of Garifunas. And Garifunas have been in Honduras for hundreds of years. And to this day, they discriminate against them. They remove their land. Some of them even get murdered. It's a battle Garifunas have gone through for decades with Honduras, because Honduras to this day does not recognize Garifunas as part of being part of Honduras. And so I grew up looking at Garifunas as if they were subculture, subhuman. I'm telling you, you think that you're leaving the US and moving to a Latin American country to escape racism? You're not escaping racism. And you need to understand that that's just the way things are. And it's very acceptable. Some of you who are coming on TikTok complaining that they're in Mexico and that they are embracing the Mexican culture, and why are they being discriminated against? That is why. Mexico people discriminate against their own. What do you think it's going to happen when you're there? In fact, in Mexico, if you don't have light skin and blue eyes, first of all, look at the telenovelas. You tell me, what do you see in telenovelas? You're only going to see beautiful people with light skin and blue eyes. you're going to see some indigenous people. The vast majority of the roles they give the indigenous actors is of the maid, is of, you know, it's never the pretty woman. Yeah. How many actors do you know in Mexico that are in a telenovela and they happen to be black? Just look at the telenovelas and you tell me how many indigenous actors and actresses you're going to see in those telenovelas. It's the reality in Mexico, and you need to understand that. You're not escaping racism by moving.
Humans will always discriminate against humans. I recall a lot of light, fair-skinned Latinos or Hispanics were discriminated by white people. White people referred to Hispanics as wetbacks. They talk about they had flies and all this other nonsense, right? And there's quite a few racial names that I've heard white people call Latino people. That's very fair skin. So I find it interesting when fair skinned Latin people discriminate against the darker race. But again, people discriminate against people. You ever watch Sanford and Son? Julio?
United States Census data taken before the Civil War shows that there were an estimated 4 million enslaved Africans and Black Americans in the United States. Cumulative data shows that from 1619 until 1860, there were 10 million enslaved Africans and Black Americans in the United States who contributed an estimated 410 billion hours of labor, with a significant amount of that growth occurring from 1820 until the Civil War. So let's be clear here, the practice was not limited in scope. At the time of the Civil War, nearly 1/3 of Confederate households were directly participating in the enslavement of 4 million Africans and Black Americans. So you are making the claim that it was of no economic benefit to the United States because you don't want to acknowledge anything that detracts from your belief that it was white Americans solely who grew the United States economy, and you definitely don't want to acknowledge the financial basis for reparations. But the thing is, if you don't acknowledge the economic contribution of those 410 billion hours of enslaved labor, what you are left with is having to acknowledge that for 200 plus years, the United States engaged in the enslavement of 10 million people and fought a bloody war with itself to defend the right to own human beings as property and to brutalize them simply because they enjoyed doing so. So whether you recognize it or not, you are making the argument for reparations. Americans, but you insist on using blacks with a lowercase b, does in fact tell us everything that we need to know about your level of ignorance and bias. But I'm glad that you do acknowledge that enslaved labor made the United States cotton economy possible. And it was the cotton economy that transformed the United States from a colonial society into a global trading power. But your timeline is off, because the cotton economy took off after the War of 1812, and by then the status of enslaved was established as being based on race, and the indentured servitude of Irish was on its way out. At that point, Irish Americans were already slave patrollers and overseers. If we think critically about your claim that if they did not have access to enslaved black labor, they simply would have gotten the Irish to do it, it falls apart. Because if it was an option to procure laborers from Europe, where the colonists were already coming from, why would they have ever pursued the much more costly and much more time-consuming process of importing enslaved labor from Africa? And it's because using Irish indentured servants didn't work. 200 years before, in the early colonies, in the 1600s, the original plan was to rely primarily on convict and indentured labor from Europe, as well as enslaved labor of Native Americans. But the arrival of the Europeans introduced diseases that killed too many Native Americans, and Irish indentured servants were quickly dying when put to hard labor. So they had to rely more on the transatlantic slave trade. Now, what they did not understand is that enslaved Africans had developed immunity to European diseases over time because of trade. So that enslaved Africans were immune to diseases that had killed Native Americans, and that enslaved Africans were acclimated to heat, which was killing Irish indentured servants, contributed to the pseudoscientific racist idea that enslaved Africans were built for labor. So actually, reliance on the enslaved labor of Africans and Black Americans was a necessity to growing the United States cotton economy. But another thing that I was wondering is, could you please explain to us why you find this funny?
So this is all I got from this video, and firstly, I'm going to start by saying that when did it become really okay for people to discriminate against people, you know? And it's really amazing how people, like, you know, think this is okay. But this is not okay. And she is saying if you are leaving America you probably are leaving America due to discrimination, and you think you are going to Latin American or something, and you think you are not going to be discriminated, you are lying. And it's just really amazing how some of them already, like, you know, take, how do I say that? Like, you know, it's more like a pattern or their way of life and all that. So if you are coming to Latin American or America, I wanted to know that you are also, as a Black person, you are coming there to also experience some certain things that are the things palm-colored people do to the, you know. Now let me tell you something. Most of these people, palm-colored people, probably might have shown them some certain things, like, you know, being racist to them, towards them, and all that. So what they do is they look for people that they think they have higher power, but heaven knows that they do not have any higher power than us. Because now, looking at like, you know, all over what is going on and all that, you can see like anti-Black is like global thing, you know. They just do not want to see Black people. And I don't know if I think she's just preparing people's mind, you know. But this is something we really need to kick against, because it looks like if you are not a fair skin, and you do not have blue eyes and all that, you are not supposed to be part of them. You are not supposed to live among them. You are not like, you know, you are not supposed to be existing. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of people, like, you know, when you come to some places, you see a lot of people wanting to lighten their skin, because they have already shown us that the beauty standard is light skin. And so if you do not have that light skin, or if you do not look like them, you do not belong. You are not part of the world. You don't know, like, you know, are not in that class. And that is absolutely wrong, you know. It is time we start promoting natural beauty. It's time we start promoting melanin. It's time we start promoting Black beauty, because I see so many, you already do not know, like, if you are really dark skin, you don't know what God did for you. I mean, God has really given you everything. For me, that is how I feel, because sometimes, I know how I want my skin to really be. Yes, I know how I really want it. Very dark. I am not trying to, but that is how I love it. That is how I love it. This color, I do not love it. You heard me right. So if you are really dark skinned, you don't know what God had, like what God did for you, sincerely speaking. And some people are out there discriminating. But you know, now look at it. I just don't know how some people discriminate. Why do you discriminate something that you love so much? Some of them cannot do without Black men. They love Black men so much that they cannot, like, you know, you see them fetishize Black men, but they do not like Black women. So how do you like a particular kind of thing in, like, you know, but you do not like man? I just do not get it. So it means that you all are also obsessed, but because you don't know how to, like, you know, maybe, I don't know, some people have different ways of reacting to jealousy and all that. They like you. They want to be you, but because they cannot be you, you see them very jealous, you know, very, very jealous. And but then being rich disease is wickedness, and being anti-Black is wickedness. Because you don't tell me that you are not wicked. You are just wicked. So I think it's also time we start encouraging one another to wear our skin color, you know. Because a lot of people want to be light skinned. A lot of people want, like, you know, fairer skin, because they think fairer skin or something is just like the very please, if you are also black and you are fair skinned, I do not have anything against you or something. But what I'm saying is that the beauty standard, like what the pop color people already have, they've shown us is that if you really are beautiful, that their skin color or being light skin is the beauty standard. But man, that is not the beauty standard. We are the beauty standard, and there are different beauty standards in different shades of melanin, right? So let's embrace us, let's love us. And I am going to say this: do not go where you are not invited. And that is something I have learned over time. Like, when people say they do not want you, there is no need going there. I mean, just go where you are wanted, go and spend money where you are going to be appreciated, and the rest of it. And for this palm colored person who said black slavery provided no value to most Americans and was not the principal driver of wealth, if black slavery had been banned 100 years before U.S. independence, we would be just as wealthy as today. You people are liars. These people are already liars. So now, oh geez, sorry, I'm laughing at some people's ignorance. Yeah. See, so he is, I mean, who or she, or whoever this person is saying that slavery did not provide a lot of money to Americans, right? And he's saying that if that was banned, that like US would have been very wealthy. You all are just a bunch of liars. You all are pretenders. You all should go and read the history. I mean, when they say CRT, they will say no. CRT is African American history is very violent, and it hurts their feelings. It hurts their children's feelings. You all need to send your children back to school. And if you're a parent and you do not know anything as a pop-colored person, you need to enroll yourself in the same school that your children are going, so you will be able to learn. Because what in the nonsense is this? Like, now let's start with saying you guys better get ready to pay that reparations, because you all stole a lot of money. I remember what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rosewood, and all that. During that period that they burned African American community and all that, most of their money were with them and all that, and they never returned it. You all still owe that. With all the things, the reparations that you all have, you all still are going to pay for that. And for what our ancestors, what they went through, you all still have to pay for that. So telling me, and for all the labor that our ancestors, all the things they built from scratch to top without any money being paid to them, you all need to pay that. You said you all would have been wealthier, right? I see how wealthier you all would have been, because you all forgot that everything you all got as it stands right now, you all sold them all from Africa and still selling to this very moment. And somebody is telling me that you all would have been wealthier. Yeah, you all would have been wealthier if you did not go out there to take away people that were doing something great already in their houses, carry all of them back there, and you all are still denying it. But then all of a sudden, slavery benefited slaves. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.